Hello, and welcome to this I'm Possible Life podcast. I'm your host, Lisbeth Koning, and today we are going to talk about protein. So, as you know, in the previous episodes in this segment, I've been talking about perimenopause. And with perimenopause, usually the conversation is all about hormones, which is very important. And I'm so glad so many more conversations are happening. But in addition to talking about just the hormone shifts and changes, we need to talk about how we're fueling our body. So that is what this episode is about. If you are feeling exhausted, brain foggy, like super emotions up and down, um, you're just like disconnected to your body. You're like, who am I? Like, what is going on? Like, you've been doing all these same things, and like your body is not responding. Um, like, part of the problem might be how you're feeling yourself. Because unfortunately, in this society, there's this belief that if you are gaining weight, you're just eating too much. And the story is not that simple, right? A lot of times it's not balancing your macronutrients correctly. And we've also been given false information. Just recently, they changed the federal organization changed the food pyramid to put protein at the top, right? It is actually very important. They're realizing we're needing more protein than we were thinking we were needing. So I do want to put it out there that I am not a doctor or a nurse. So this is not medical advice. You should definitely go first to your doctor. But in addition to that, there's so many podcasts out there, books out there. I highly recommend the book, The New Menopause. That's where I'm learning a lot of information that I'm learning about protein and all of that. Educate yourself, right? Because sometimes a lot of women are going to their doctor, and their doctor is basically saying, "Oh well, this isn't a problem," or your hormones don't show that you're in perimenopause, even though like the symptoms clearly do. So we need doctors that listen to us, and in order to make that happen, sometimes we have to educate ourselves. All right. That said, I want to talk about all of the struggles one by one, like certain what you might be feeling in your body and how that might relate to your protein intake. And something that you probably have heard is that in perimenopause, our it's harder to build muscle, and we lose muscle over time, and also bone strength. Okay, so estrogen is very involved in both of those things, and so when our estrogen drops, our bones can get weaker, our muscles can get weaker, and so we need to specifically do things in order to counteract. There's also our insulin resistance isn't as good. So we have a lot more of those blood sugar spikes, like spikes and crashes, and that raises cortisol levels. And when your cortisol levels are raised, that is when you start collecting that visceral fat that likes to go in that belly area. So you're not imagining it. You are getting more hair, more weight in that area. It happened to me. It happens to a lot of people, right? So that's what we're talking about. So protein is important because it is stable energy, right? When you eat that high sugary cereal, or those like not very filling carbs, right? What that's doing is it's giving you energy right away, right? You might be like, "Oh, I'm so tired. Let me drink coffee. Let me eat the candy. It's going to raise my energy," but then you're going to crash, and that is going to have residual effects. So we want energy that comes from a sustainable source. It also helps with preserving our muscles. It helps with helping us feel fuller longer. And in particular, protein that is powered by leucine. So if you haven't heard about that, that's something to dive into. Leucine is an amino acid that is found in high quality protein. So if you're buying protein products, you want to look and make sure that that protein is being powered by leucine. This is what signals your body to preserve and build muscle. And it also is so much more important as our estrogen goes down. So see where your protein is sourced from. And protein isn't just about weight loss. Yes, probably most of us want to lose some weight, right? But there's so many more other things as we get into longevity that is where it really matters. So we want to make sure that we're fueling our body for what it needs. So let's take energy. That's the first one. Let's take energy. So we want to have that stable energy that lasts throughout the day, and we want to avoid those crashes because we want to avoid our cortisol levels going up. There are enough things in our life causing our cortisol levels to go up. We do not need any more. So avoiding added sugar. We're going to look at that. Some of those protein bars have a lot of added sugar, so you want to look at that. And you want to make sure that, especially your breakfast. So you might be like, I'm not hungry for breakfast. Okay, well, that might just be your hunger cues have been trained that way. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're fueling yourself, especially if you're going to be doing a workout. If you're a woman and you do a workout on an empty stomach, it can that can cause cortisol levels to rise too, because your body's like, do we have enough to handle this? Right? But if you just give a little, I like to have collagen 9 in particular, because it's got all 9 amino acids in it that I put in. It has 10 grams of protein, because 10 grams of collagen protein, and that's in my belly from my workout. So my body's like, okay, we got some fuel. We can do this, right? I mix it right in with my pre-workout, and also making sure that pre-workout is clean energy. There's some not so clean pre-workouts out there. If you need help with any supplements, you are welcome to contact me. I can talk to you about them. All right, so that's energy. Now let's talk about brain fog. Yes, this also can be connected to protein, because when we have those spikes up and down during the day and the cortisol levels rise, that actually can cause those sleep disturbances at night, right? Where you're waking up at 3 in the morning. Why 3 in the morning? I don't know. It's like a thing that happens, right? So you're waking up more at night. If you get less sleep, you're more tired. You have more brain fog, right? If you also are eating a lot of sugary carbs and things like that, that's going to cause the brain fog, right? We are wanting the clean protein powered by leucine and take out that sugar. Um, like we were talking about, protein is important for establishing like your muscles. So if you're, especially if you're weightlifting, which you should be, because that is how you strengthen your muscles and your bones. And as we lose estrogen, we need to do that. Like you must be doing those weightlifting workouts. Okay, you don't need to do cardio every day, all day. Have a little cardio in there to raise your heart rate, to make sure that you're keeping that cardiovascular health. But you actually can raise your heart rate pretty darn well, depending on how you're weightlifting. So having a program that you're following can really help with that. And if you want some recommendations for that, I can also connect you some really good research-based workout programs. Like we talked about, if you are not eating enough during the day, it will affect your sleep. So sleep disturbances can have something to do with how much protein you're getting in, as well as those healthy whole food carbs, the grains, whole grains. You want to avoid processed food. And then motivation. A lot of people are like, I just don't have the motivation that I used to have. That could be a fueling problem, right? Like we need to be giving ourselves not just like fuel with food, but fuel with self-compassion, fuel with doing the things that bring you joy, fuel with doing the things that you know make you feel better. So taking a meditation break, going for a walk, doing these things that are going to reset you so that you can come back to a regular level, right? Give yourself that love. So these shifts are happening to us, but it doesn't have to be so extreme. If you can get in the right amount of protein, if you can get your sleep better on track, and you're going to want to talk to your doctor about a plan. But if your doctor is not helping you, or saying that no, this isn't a problem, find another doctor. There's a lot of online health places now, like MediHealth, I think, which you can get the menopausal support that maybe your doctor isn't giving you. They're just starting to add menopause training into doctor training. Just okay. It's another soapbox for another day. So one thing you want to think about is how do you know how much protein you're getting if you're not tracking? So one of the things I've started doing is I have this online tracker, and I can put in what I'm having at each meal. And if you don't know, like if you plate your meal, let's maybe you have vegetables, somebody would take a picture of it and it will calculate it for you, as long as it can see what's involved in the meal. Otherwise, you can Google things and kind of make an estimate. What we track, what we're paying attention to, that is what is going to grow in the positive direction that we want it to go in. So if you would like this tracker, I can send it to you. It's totally free. You can use it to track your protein and see, okay, well, where am I at? Where should I be? Okay? You put in your desired weight, and then it tells you how much protein you should have for that. So what most people are finding, which I found when I started tracking, is I'm having far less protein than I need. And so that has been shifting just from the awareness. I'm like, oh, how could I add more protein to these muffins? Oh, how could I, have more protein to this meal? Can I add a protein snack here? So bringing it back, basically, simply start your day with protein and then make sure you're fueling yourself throughout the day. Choose protein that is powered by leucine. And any questions you have, I'm here. Connect with me on Instagram at Lisbeth_Koning. Um, I I am really passionate about this, if you couldn't tell, but it's your body and it's your life, and you deserve to feel good. Okay, I'm going to say this one again. You are worthy of feeling good. You're worthy of feeling good. So it's important that you dig in and figure out, okay, what's causing this and how can I make it better? Because let me tell you, my symptoms, I was starting to, I could feel the hot flashes start to come on. I was like having the night sweats. I was like waking up at night all the time. My weight was going up and I was still working out. And it was so frustrating. And I was like, I don't want to live like this. And I'm listening to podcasts of women saying, you don't have to live like this. And so I took action, and I'm taking supplements that are helping, and I'm taking protein powered by leucine, and it is helping. So you can have that too. All right. Have a wonderful week, and I hope you connect with me on Instagram.